guys, what's up, and welcome back to Anthony's Tennis Hub. My name is Anthony Hirsch, and today I want to talk about the Miami Open. We are midway through the quarterfinals of Miami. Sinner and Medvedev are going to play in the semifinals. Alcaraz, Dimitrov, Zverev, and Maroszan are waiting on the other side. I want to talk about some of the matches that have happened so far, such as Alcaraz and Musetti. Also go over some other matches that have gone down and generally what's going on in the Miami tournament. Appreciate everybody joining in. Like always, don't forget to subscribe, Anthony's Tennis Hub, and all of that stuff if you are new to the channel. But yeah, first of all, I want to go over the Alcaraz-Musetti match. That was a match that I really wanted to go in depth on, and then I'll also go over more recent matches such as Sinner versus Machac and also Dimitrov versus Jarry. But starting from the Alcaraz-Musetti match, this was a really high-level match. It was probably one of the highest-level matches you'll ever see where the scoreline ends up being 6-3, 6-3. You know, there were a lot of close games, and Musetti played incredibly well. He was just a little bit too off for Alcaraz, who was just so on his game. And Musetti just didn't have enough. Alcaraz was really dictating in control. 23 winners, 9 errors from Alcaraz. He won 74% of his first serve points. And that was really, really good for Alcaraz. Musetti also only was able to win 7 out of 19 of his second serve points. Alcaraz was just so aggressive throughout the whole match, and that was paying real dividends. The head-to-head before the match started was 2-1 in favor of Alcaraz. The first match was a famous match in Hamburg, where Alcaraz saved match points the second set, but then in their first meeting at ATP level, Musetti pulled through and beat Alcaraz in upset to get his first ATP title in a really great fashion. So that was a big match to start off the rivalry. But since then, their scorelines have been 6-3, 6-2, 6-2 at Roland Garros, then 6-2, 6-2 at Beijing. That is 4 consecutive 6-2 sets. And yeah, so people, I guess, were interested to see, are we gonna just continue off where we left off? And I thought Musetti played an honorable, good, maybe even great match, but Alcaraz was scary good at times in this one. So let me talk about what happened. So in the very first game, Musetti already gets into trouble, and he goes for, too early in the point, he goes for a really low percentage shot, which is the ball's coming right kind of at his feet off the backhand. He really tries to target it to the deuce side corner. And the reason he does this is because whenever he's going, probably some patterns that happen in Beijing as well. You know, when he goes to the ad side, Alcaraz is so good at running around and getting forehands and then attacking his backhand. That's the danger zone, especially for the Musetti backhand when he's really being put under pressure and people are trying to break down that shot with hard forehands. You know, the lowest part of the net is the middle of the court, and that's why it's so easy and kind of low percentage, high margin to just, you know, keep hitting cross court. And when you can keep attacking the backhand with very little, you know, repercussions, with forehands inside out, that's really good. And Alcaraz was doing that throughout the whole match. So Musetti wanted to do whatever he could to get it to the forehand side, which is to go down the line, because at least that's better for him. But he misses it long. So that's what happened there. Very poor backhand, very loopy, a miss hit, and just too low percentage. And then it's a great start from Alcaraz. He goes up 40 love at 1-0. He hits 2 poor errors at 40 love. Musetti a little bit better off the return, a little bit more attacking. Still showing a few good signs, but just a little bit too off his game. But then Musetti's so fast, he gets to this kind of backhand pass down the line. It might be going wide. It's hard to tell, but Alcaraz is just so fast and so athletic. He hits a volley and gets on top of it, hits a volley winner. And then it's 2-0. So even if it was going out or it was going in, Alcaraz is like, I'm fast enough, I can cover it without missing the volley. So good at the net, and he covers it. He's up 2-0. Like I said, Musetti, some great flashes of great shots and play too early, but Alcaraz just looks really locked in. Musetti better serving, holds to, I think, love in 15 at 2-1, at 3-2. So he's doing well. But what Musetti really needed to do at this point in the match was he needs to find, you know, better variety, better kind of creative ways of not letting Carlos just pop off on that ad side. As I was saying, and Musetti was just not playing poor at all, but it's just Alcaraz was really dictating in those outside exchanges. And Musetti really having to push too much off the forehand. And that's just not causing any winners from his end. It's just only causing errors. Meanwhile, Alcaraz can just, attack that forehand all day without missing. So, attack from the forehand side without missing all day. Musetti is just causing a lot of errors when he's really forced to push. But yeah, some great serving from Carlos. Musetti is down at 4-2. He's down 4-2, 15-40. It's looking like it might be another 6-2 set. But some really great serving. Musetti escapes. Musetti gets 2 first serves in. One is a really great drop shot and net play combination, which is one of the best points of the match. And it was looking good for Musetti. I really think that this was better than a 6-3, 6-3 scoreline. 2 first serves. The first serve, Alcaraz just found himself too far behind the baseline. He was giving a lot of different looks on the return of serve. For the most part, it was working. He was switching it up a lot, which was working well. But I think that Musetti, the first one was a forehand the net, just a little bit loopy, and it dropped down to because he was standing so far back. It's easier to hit flat, kind of like Medvedev, where the ball just kind of skids low through the court rather than hit topspin, where the ball kind of falls down, which is what Alcaraz did here, and it fell into the net when you're standing so far back. And then, the second serve was a great net play combination. So 4-3, Musetti's back at it. Then it's 4-3, 30 all, so it's looking like it might be a little bit closer. But just some elite points from Alcaraz, honestly. Just some elite points. Building out the points with attacking forehands, then a drop shot and lob combination, gets out of trouble, gets to 5-3. Then on set point at 5-3, Alcaraz plays a very flashy point. Musetti serves and volleys. Alcaraz somehow hits an incredibly great backhand cross court, great width on it. And Musetti gets it and attempts a drop volley, and it's pretty good actually, but Alcaraz is so fast, and not only does he get to it, he somehow gets on top of it and hits this kind of slice shot, sliding into it. Just slice winner cross court for a winner. The crowd goes crazy. While he was doing this, one of his feet was just fully sideways to the court, and it's amazing to me how Alcaraz can do this. He's a great athlete. He can do things with his body that just no one else really, we haven't seen that much before. Just an incredible athlete. The way he can slide with one of his legs almost fully sideways to the court, one of his feet fully sideways to the court, and hit an effective shot, maybe even a winner, and not fall over, is just incredible. He's got so much good control over his own body and just doing a million things at once to hit incredible shots like that, so we just gotta appreciate it. But at this point, Alcaraz's backhand is looking scary. It's 0-1 deuce, and Musetti only hits his 4th forehand winner of the whole match. So that's no good. Then at 1-1, they have a stunning 10-minute game, probably the best of the match. There's a point where they both hit tweeners. Musetti had absolutely no reason to hit a tweener. It was a frontwards tweener running to the shot, reminded me of a shot that Juan Martín del Potro hit about a couple decades ago. It's just a frontward tweener lob. But he had so much time to run to the shot. Ended up winning the point. Didn't matter, but it came at a big moment. It was just, like I said, his first break points of the match. Now his advantage for Carlos. He wins that point. So it gets to deuce. Musetti earns another break point. And then Alcaraz hits this kind of jumping smash winner. And it's amazing how fearless and how free Alcaraz plays in the big moments. I think he loves the competition of it. And it's awesome. It's really crazy how he'll hit a drop shot on the most important point in the match, because he knows that his opponent is feeling pressure too. So it's just, the tennis match is a playground for Alcaraz to play around in. The tennis court is, a playground for him to show the skills that he possesses and to show, to have fun and enjoy himself. I think he loves it. I think that's why he's gotten to this point. It wasn't ideal for Alcaraz to go down break points. There was a bad drop shot, a good Musetti backing down the line, then a forehand error into the net. But Alcaraz got out of trouble, saved 2 break points. That's kind of what it was. Both guys holding to love at 3-2. Then Alcaraz broke at 3-2. It was a bit of a long deuce game. Alcaraz had one of his most impressive points of the match, where Musetti started really attacking Alcaraz off the forehand. Musetti really stepping in on the forehand, pushing Alcaraz all over the court. And then Musetti hits a forehand inside out himself, which is what Alcaraz was doing to Musetti the whole match. And what is so incredible is Alcaraz, with his athleticism, almost an open stance slide shot, kind of like a Jannik Sinner, kind of like a Novak Djokovic, or an Iga Swiatek on the women's side. Open stance slide, he hits a backhand down the line winner scorcher down the line, completely shifts the point around. And he gets himself to a break point. And then at break point, it's a beautiful drop shot, like an inch in front of the net. Carlos loves it. Hand to his ear. Then after that, it's one of the few bad signs for Carlos in the match. Played phenomenal match, served great. His backhand was impressive. Used a lot of variety, which I think is something I was really anticipating in this match between two really creative, young, talented youngsters. But, you know, Musetti fought well. He was doing well to get good depth off his shots again and again and make it tough, but this was a blink from Alcaraz at 4-2. Musetti broke the only time he broke in the match. Alcaraz broke, Musetti saved 7 of 11 break chances, which means Alcaraz broke 4 times. Musetti, this was the only time that he broke. In the first point, right away, he was showing that he's here to play. So massive forehand down the line, set up a smash. But then, you know, after that, Alcaraz just blinked. Forehand volley in the ground, a forehand in the net, and a slice wide off a pretty wicked slice from Musetti himself. Musetti pushed well, you know, just getting one more extra shot back and doing it with some, you know, some vigor in his shots. But yeah, it wasn't anything special from Musetti. But Alcaraz just blinked a little bit. But at 4-3, Alcaraz was right back at it. This was probably his most impressive game of the match. So it's least impressive game followed by his most impressive game. Stunning backhand lob. Then again, great offense from the ad side. Able to run around, hit forehands from there. Attack that backhand. And even Musetti's forehand, it felt very defensive. 2 times in this game he went for the slice. Musetti's got to play more fearless in the big points and be able to step in with that forehand. That made the biggest difference here. Feels like Musetti is close to going up a level. He showed many flashes of brilliance throughout this match, which we're used to, but it's really about the patterns of Alcaraz being able to attack with his forehand, Musetti not being able to. That really just cost him. And yeah, Alcaraz literally standing outside the court, doubles alley, hitting a forehand inside out. Musetti gets a forehand cross court, which he's unable to get cross court enough. He hits it very central, and yeah, and then Alcaraz hits a backhand. Back at him with a lot of pace, and Musetti misses the next shot. So those are the patterns that kind of describe the match, these constant patterns. And yeah, and then in the end, it's another 30-all game to end it. Musetti retrieving smashes impressively, but Alcaraz just a little bit too strong, always in control. And yeah, Alcaraz wins the match on a big serve, and it's 6-3, 6-3. Kind of a lot of the things that we expected. Alcaraz dictating and Musetti not being able to stop it. But that being said, Musetti showed a lot of good things in the match. Alcaraz will not want to have a 4-2 game where he blinked at the end there if he is to win this tournament, for example. But overall, very good signs. He looks scary at times. That backhand, like I said, was fantastic. And his movement around the court, being able to step around and hit that forehand. Also, just his variety is insane. All the different shots he can pull off in the book is just stunning. There one point I didn't mention that happened earlier in the match. This happened at 3-1-0-15. Musetti tried a drop shot. Like I said, I wanted him to include more variety than he did in this match to stop those patterns from happening. And he tried a drop shot, and Alcaraz again, like I said, sliding with that left leg almost fully sideways to the court. And Alcaraz just slides in and hits this incredible shot off the drop shot, where he kind of slices it. As he kind of holds the racket like this and holds on to the ball. And as if he's going to go cross court and slice across court, he holds on to the ball and then kind of slices it the other way. Into the ad side where Musetti is standing. Musetti's right there, but the ball has so much wicked slice on it, and I'm sure Musetti wasn't expecting it. He hits a backhand slice volley wide, and it's just like, how does Alcaraz even think of doing these shots, and how is he doing? And that's why I think so many people are so enthralled with Alcaraz and thinks if he can keep improving as he is and keep this up, he might end up one of the greats, and that's exciting. Just the fact that he's such a fun watch, and he does it while winning matches by hitting some of the craziest shots that none of these players see when they face anybody else. So that was the Musetti versus Alcaraz match. Another match that I want to talk about as well, just briefly, I want to go through a few, but Sinner versus Machac was a match that I wanted to talk about. Machac is a really exciting kind of all-court player. He loves coming to the net. He's even playing doubles this week. He loves coming to the net. But in the second set, he fully stopped coming to the net. He was just trying to play like Sinner, right on top of the baseline and attack. But in the second set, Jannik completely took control in that way. And it's hard to come to net when Jannik is just smashing everything at you. When do you find the time to do it, right? So Sinner played crazy good in the second set. It was scary good. And the unforced errors started really coming for Machac. He only won 14 out of 34 second serve points, which was pretty brutal. Only 53% of first serves going in. That's why he hit so many second serves as well. A lot of tough, long deuce games, especially to start off the first set up until I think like 3-3. But as soon as it was like 40 minutes and we had played 7 games. But after Sinner broke to 4-3, Sinner ran away with the match, and he was just in full control, full aggression, and he had some stellar shots as well. He had a one-handed backhand passing shot early in the match. Really good stuff. Machac, I don't even think he played that poorly. Errors in the second set were a little bit frustrating. Also, the fact, like I said, he didn't come to net as much as probably he should have tried to. But that being said, Sinner played almost flawless, and Sinner has the more experience in this kind of a Masters 1000 quarterfinal. So that's what happened there. Also, Machac only won 11 out of 19 net points. In the second set, he almost wasn't winning any net points. Sinner just passing him. So that was probably why he stopped coming to net as much as well. So that is one of the matches that happened. Another one is Dimitrov versus Hurkacz. I knew this was going to be close. I picked Dimitrov to beat Hurkacz in my draw preview, which I was pretty happy about. But yeah, Dimitrov got what I call the all quarterfinal gauntlet, or the all quarterfinal Masters gauntlet. He got to the quarterfinal of every single Masters 1000, which is very good for him. This match really came down to, I felt like it came down to a moment in the tiebreaker where Hurkacz accidentally touched the net with his foot, briefly, but he did touch the net. And it will always be reminiscent and compared to the Nadal-Djokovic 2013 Roland Garros moment. But yeah, he hits the tape with his foot, and Dimitrov wins in the third set breaker, gets a mini break, and then kind of runs away with it. But in the match, Dimitrov was the better player. It was close, but Dimitrov was the better player. Dimitrov also hit more aces than Hurkacz, 9 aces to 8 from Hurkacz. Hurkacz only won 50% of second serve points, 23 out of 46, so he would have wanted to do better in that way too. Hurkacz did well to fight. He's one of the best competitors on the tour. He loves Miami. Dimitrov said after the match, Miami has been his kryptonite. So it's really a moment between two really top players and Masters 1000 champions, who one of them, this is their favorite Masters, for the other, this is their least favorite Masters, or the one that they've never been able to quite get that quarterfinal stage in. So, but, Hurkacz had the confidence, but Dimitrov at the end of the day finished it off but he finished it off. And it was good to see, because Dimitrov's been playing great. And then let's see, what else? Ruud versus Jarry. Ruud versus Jarry was another one I wanted to talk about. Jarry won 88% of his first serve points. He fired 38 winners, which is double Casper's number. 19 winners for Casper. He also won 17 out of 24 points at the net, coming to net a lot, which is something he did a bit against Medvedev as well, which I thought was one of the reasons he would make it close against Medvedev, and he made it fairly close. But yeah, for Jarry, he was up 3-2 in the first set, a break up. And then it went to 5-6, love 30 for Ruud. Ruud was also up 3-2 in the tiebreaker. And amazingly, at this point, it was 48% first serves from Ruud unreturned to 32 from Jarry. Yes, 48% of Ruud's first serves were unreturned, just 32 for Jarry. But Ruud is a really good returner, and he'll make a lot of shots back, whether he hits return winners or wins those return points. He'll make a lot back, but that was the stat there. And the tiebreaker is a forehand error from Ruud, down 3-4. Then an amazing point at 3-5 from Jarry, one of the points of the match. Incredible net coverage from Jarry and great athleticism. Stretched out to hit a backhand volley, cross court. And I felt like Ruud, just unnecessary slice and dice. I like it when he is creative with the shots and it has some, unexpected shots, some skillful creative play, but it doesn't have to be that cutesy or that interesting. It can kind of just hit big and can go for a big shot. It doesn't always have to be the unexpected shot. That's why I like watching Ruud, but in a big moment like this, I feel like he can be a little bit too passive. And then Jarry started out at 6-3 in the tiebreaker. And then tiebreaker just comes down to moments like that. And then Jarry at 2-1 in the second set, already having faced a break point earlier. Jarry just so in control, attacking. His backhand's so good as well in this match. So good in this match. And the backhand rally is really favoring him. It's an amazing backhand down the line. And then a double fault to get him to 4-2, a break up. Ruud didn't even play that poor. Stats don't really show it outside of the first serve return, where he only won 12% of points. But Jarry's playing awesome. He loves playing top guys. I feel like Nicolas Jarry, Maroszan, and Hugo Humbert are the big three of players outside the top guys beating top guys. They are the big three of everybody who's not a top guy beating the top 10 players. Everybody outside the top 10, they're the best of the best of players outside the top 10 beating top 10 players. Maroszan has now beaten more top 10 guys than he has beaten guys who are outside the top 50 at ATP level. He also has a better win rate at Masters 1000 tournaments, if I remember correctly, than Nadal or Djokovic. It's from a very small pool of matches, but that is hilarious to me. I feel like Maroszan is a guy who it's going to be really interesting to see if he can keep up the consistency when it doesn't come to these big matches as well. I know Hugo Humbert was like that, and then he has really improved to beating nearly everybody, below him as well. So he's been playing fantastic. So we'll see if he can have that kind of progression in his game. Medvedev versus Jarry yesterday, talking about the second quarterfinal that's already happened. Big serving contest. Jarry won 79% of first serve points. Medvedev won 80%. Medvedev with that 1 point advantage. And then Jarry hit 25 winners to 12 winners from Medvedev. That's according to the stats. And he definitely hit more. That might not be exactly accurate, but Medvedev was winning the right points. And that's just kind of hilarious to see stats like that. And Medvedev got it done very close in the second set tiebreaker. And then just going quickly over a few other matches. And then I want to talk about the Djokovic Ivanisevic split as well. But Maroszan made 74% of first serves in against Minaur. And both won 71 points, the exact same number of total points won. And Maroszan broke 3 times. Both broke 3 times. But Maroszan just more winners from his side, way more winners. Picked it up big time in the third set. Minaur could have been a little bit more solid, I felt like. He was a little too passive. He didn't have enough to really hurt Maroszan. When Maroszan would go a little bit too central or hit it right back at him or, hit it a little bit too short. Minaur was just not doing the small things to take advantage of that. Once again, I think maybe running out of gas towards the end of a big tournament. I feel like this has been a constant for Minaur. I don't know if it was that, but in this third set, Maroszan played amazing. But with those little moments, I still felt like Minaur didn't take advantage. And those are moments, now that he's a top 10 player, he needs to take advantage. When Maroszan is making kind of immature errors, inexperienced errors of, anticipation, going right to where Minaur is going to go. And Minaur doesn't really take advantage and hit a winner. Or, hit it too central. And Minaur doesn't take advantage in the rally and start winning the rally. He kind of just, he kind of hit it right back to Maroszan. So, Minaur, I feel like, wasn't really there with his intensity to the max to really take advantage of those moments in the third set. But Maroszan was fearless. He was absolutely blasting forehands in that third set. Absolutely blasting forehands. Some serves as well, but the forehand was crazy. Mixing it up well, he came to net 26 times to just 12 from Minaur. He only won 14 of those 26, but still great to mix it up because it plants a seed in the opponent's head. And overall, Maroszan just played incredibly well, hit some great shots, some great passing shots. some great width on his shots, finding some great openings in the court, hitting close to the lines, finding and making some great angles in the court. So Maroszan, when he's at his best, he's really playing at top tier level. And as he gets more experienced, I'm really interested to see where he goes, because he is one of these kind of next gen guys. So it's going to be interesting to see where we go from here. Those are the matches I really want to talk about, I think, the most. But now I also want to mention, well, first of all, how am I doing with my draw prediction? How am I doing with my draw prediction? All right, so, okay, these were my predictions. Alcaraz, Dimitrov, Ruud versus Khachanov, didn't get that. Humbert versus Fritz, didn't get that either. Sinner versus Arnaldi, didn't quite get that. Arnaldi did make the 4th round, though, so I was happy to see that. He beat Bublik, he beat some good players, so I was happy to see Arnaldi doing well, but it was another underdog in Machac who actually got there. But let's see. So my picks were Alcaraz beats Dimitrov in 2 sets, yet to be determined. I'll be commentating that today for another channel I do stuff for, Quality Shot Tennis, but yeah, that'll be interesting. I also said Ruud defeats Khachanov in 2 sets. Nope, it's Zverev and Maroszan. So we'll see how that plays out as well. The other 2 already have results. Sinner beats Arnaldi in 2 sets. Sinner beat Machac in 2 sets. I feel like that's half a win, like something. Then I said Humbert defeats Fritz. I couldn't be more far off. Medvedev beats Jarry. I literally couldn't be further off if I tried. So a couple wins with Alcaraz, Dimitrov, and half a win with Sinner beating Arnaldi, but no, those in the middle I completely got off. So anyway, those were off. We try. We try. We'll still see. My final prediction is, I guess, Sinner beating Alcaraz in 3 sets, so we'll see what happens with the rest of the draw. Yeah, I want to finish off talking about Djokovic and Ivanisevic. One of the most important coaching partnerships in the history of the sport, for sure. The Djokovic Ivanisevic, because he's won 12 slams with Ivanisevic post his comeback after a great partnership with Becker, but then things really stopped working for Novak. With Ivanisevic, he's won 12 slams. Fully and utterly unprecedented in every way. Nearly triple the second most for weeks at number 1 past 30 years old. He's done that with Goran. The longevity, perfecting every part of his game, every day, the passion of both him and Goran, putting everything into it to make sure that he gets and stays at the top. Even at this age, to improve the serve, to improve the aggression, improve the net play, improve this, improve that, improve the forehand. The forehand's as good as ever. The forehand is as good as ever, and that is impressive because Novak's forehand is pretty good. That's a tough shot to improve in that big of a way to where now people are like, wow, that is an improved weapon. So that is a huge, a huge partnership in the history of tennis to do things that are unprecedented, to get to the slam record, to get to the weeks at number 1 record, break a million records in tennis that Djokovic has done, obviously. And I think everyone's going to be compelled to see who's the next name that's going to be pulled out of that hat. I think that is going to be, I'm going to be compelled by that too. It's going to be interesting. But I think that two things that piggyback off each other are probably more important than that. Number 1, whoever he chooses is not going to be able to do things that Goran did for him. He's just not. That partnership was next level. Number 2, he's almost 37 years old. Is he going to be able to keep his level without Goran there, who was so good for him, and is he going to be able to rebuild at this age? I think those things matter more. Joker's always been experimental, a little bit crazy in trying these big things. I think he still wants to just keep things fresh to make sure he can stay at the top and bring his best game. But listen, Bill Tilden and Ken Rosewall are the only guys who have won majors at 37. That is going to be the age that Djokovic is going to be at the French Open. Now, Djokovic was by far the best 36-year-old this sport has ever seen. The best 36-year-old tennis has ever seen. Now, Federer has still been number 1 older than Djokovic has been at 36. He's also won major older, technically, than Djokovic has won a major at 36. But, well, first of all, the world number 1 stat is going to change very soon. And Djokovic still is at the very top of his game at 36, and he's world number 1. Is Djokovic going to be able to sustain that, though, is the question, especially as Sinner and Alcaraz keep getting better and better. The fact that Tilden and Rosewall, those guys, they haven't played for a little while. They've put down the rackets. Djokovic needs to do what they did. Now, like I said, if anybody can do it, it's Djokovic. The physical marvel. Big three have been doing things that are unprecedented, especially with longevity. Djokovic has been doing things that are unprecedented with longevity. But I've been saying this for a while. I said this towards the end of last year, like 4 or 5 months ago. It's going to be hard for Djokovic to follow up the 2023 season he had. And it's one thing to be by far the best 36-year-old ever, which is unbelievable and so impressive from Novak. So impressive. But it's one thing to do that, and it's another thing to do things that are unprecedented, which is to win loads and loads of majors at 37, 38 years old. That just hasn't happened. It hasn't happened, literally hasn't happened for 50 years since Ken Rosewall won a major. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting. Novak's been dominating at the top of the sport pretty much consecutively for like 13, 14 years. And he's been doing it with a very physical game style. It's always going to be hard to keep that up. It's a little bit worrying. For Djokovic to do this change this late, who's Novak going to have as his next coach? Federer? No, that's not going to happen. It would be very entertaining. I would love to see it, but it's just, I'm not even going to entertain it very much. One thing to look out for is he did have Boris Becker, and Ivanisevic, 2 Grand Slam champions as his coaches. That is a pattern that could keep going. Or it could be a name completely out of left field. It could be a player we haven't heard much about, or even just a person involved with tennis we haven't heard the name much about, or whatever. It might be a name we can't even think of. But one thing I'll say is he might be looking for something new. He might not be looking for what he was looking for with Goran. The other thing that is quite possible is he's looking for somebody who knows well about longevity in sports or in tennis, and keeping that going. I would be almost surprised if the person involved doesn't have some kind of connection with that and experience with that. With great longevity in tennis, keeping that motivation, that physical side healthy. For longevity, also serving. I think you want to continue with somebody who knows well about good serving, and also good volleying and good net play, especially with Alcaraz and Sinner, and especially Alcaraz, where he'll really want to improve upon that. I think he was volleying as well as I've ever seen him in the Cincinnati U.S. Open swing last year. So, and just playing better at the net. So I think that those are a few things to look out for. Maybe a Feliciano Lopez type who serves well, volleys well, knows a thing or two about great longevity. Also maybe like a Fabrice Santoro type who volleys well, knows a thing or two about good longevity. Those are a couple names that came to my head. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, Novak is still number 1. I don't see a reason why to doubt that Djokovic isn't still at the top. We've doubted him in the big 3, Roger and Rafa, too much throughout this last era, that they weren't going to come back, and then they did. And I think it would be foolish to say that he's already dropped off, especially as he still is at the number 1 spot. Now, I will say that I did think that this was going to be harder for him to continue off with the good results consistently now that he's reaching almost 37 years old. That's what I was saying last year. I still think so. I think the physical side and all these other things, motivation, it's only going to get harder and harder. Especially with Roger and Rafa not really there and him chasing them, the motivation is going to be harder to find. But I still think that it would be foolish not to include him. I'll finish it off like this. Sinner and Alcaraz are at the top. We've made it. The young guys are here. Period. Sinner and Alcaraz are here. Alcaraz won Indian Wells. He's in form. He's able to win all the big titles. He's going deep everywhere on all surfaces. He has a 78% win percentage. Alcaraz is here. Sinner is here. Sinner is going deep at every tournament he plays, every surface. And he's able to win all the titles everywhere, both Sinner and Alcaraz. Sinner holds about a 74% win rate, 73.6 I think, only getting better. Alcaraz holds like a 77.8 win rate. They're winning lots of matches. They're able to win all the big titles against anyone. Sinner and Alcaraz are here. The young guys have arrived in tennis. But the big 3, Novak, is a little bit stubborn, as the big 3 have been for so long to countless generations, to several. Whether it's Dimitrov, Raonic, whether it's even like Berdych and Tsonga back in the day, maybe going a little bit too far, but Dimitrov and Raonic, Nishikori, Kyrgios, Berrettini, Thiem, Medvedev, you can keep going, you know. But pretty much the whole 90s generation kind of disappeared because Novak and Rafa and Roger were just too reluctant to leave. And Novak is still reluctant to leave. He's still world number one. So it's going to be really interesting to see. Is it a new era? I've talked about this. I don't think it is quite yet, but I think it could be. It depends on Novak and how his results kind of play out over the next few months, because maybe the new era started and some people didn't even realize, including myself. But we'll see how Novak responds, because I think the young guys are here, but we'll see if Novak is still at the top as well. Because when Novak is a little bit below Sinner and Alcaraz, that's when I feel more comfortable to say new era started. And I think it's a little bit early to say that, but Sinner and Alcaraz are there. They're there. Alright, thank you guys for watching and joining into Anthony's Tennis Hub. I'll be here for more videos. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed it. Always fun to talk tennis. I'll be here talking about more Miami. I'll probably try to do a video on the Alcaraz-Dimitrov match, hopefully, and other fun stuff. I'm planning out some guests to have on the channel as well for the podcast, and so many other things, you know, just different, you know, talking about different tennis stats. I want to do a series on tennis stats, and, you know, just fun rankings, like ranking some of the best players ever, some of the best matches ever, or just some fun things talking about tennis, some interesting topics in the news that are fun to talk about. And, you know, even more videos maybe of me playing. Maybe you saw videos of me hitting trick shots. I've uploaded them as shorts, but yeah, I'll be here with a lot more stuff. So definitely stay tuned, and yeah, I'll see you guys at the next one.